You're listening to Podcast Royal. I'm your host, Jessica.
And I'm your host, Rachel.
And we officially have a Christmas Carol service scheduled in the Royal Diary for December 8th.
Woohoo! Although we already knew the date because they accidentally leaked it. Remember that?
Yes, but we can say it's official now. So mark your calendars for another viewing of The Princess of Wales Together at Christmas, which will air on Christmas Eve again. And I know we'll both be tuning in to see this. And one thing I actually saw that I wanted to mention is this year's service is going to include a special thank you from Shaping Us to those who support babies, young children, and families across the UK.
Yeah, Shaping Us, I don't even think existed at the Christmas Carol concert last year. I think it launched in January. Speaking of Shaping Us, we also have news of a keynote given by the Princess of Wales at the Shaping Us National Symposium last week.
Yes, we do. And I am actually really looking forward to chatting about that as well as several other stories we've got today. But before we jump into the rundown, I do have a quick bit of British to share this week that I feel is really fitting for our audience since we've been talking so much about British food. So I'm going to say let's tuck into a yummy bit of British. What do you say, Rachel?
Let's do it.
Okay, so this week I want to share an Instagram follow that we've actually talked about a lot on the pod in the past. And I know a lot of our listeners already follow her, but one of my favorite follows on Instagram is Laura Ann et al. That's pretty. So she lives in Ireland and she is a fellow royal lover. And she somehow manages to time things just right for frequent royal sightings. She's always in the right place at the right time, Rachel. She's met the Princess of Wales during a walkabout. She recently spotted Princess Anne at an event. And then she's also got a group of women around the UK who will send her their royal sightings, and they're like her, I don't know, reporters on the ground, and she'll share it on her Instagram. So there's just a lot of fun stuff to follow with her.
You have
But
loved this account for a long time, by the way.
yes, I do enjoy her content. It's fun. So the reason I'm sharing her this week is because she just kicked off a new series on Instagram, and I know our listeners are going to like this. It's called 7 Days of Christmas Sandwiches. And she is going to food shops and cafes and trying their seasonal Christmas sandwiches. And then she's rating them, I think, on a scale of 1 to 10. So she'll go in and she'll try the sandwich and she'll show it on camera and she'll share the ingredients. She does her little taste test. And then, she'll just kind of explain a little bit about if she's tried them in the past or if they're better this year than last year or whatever. So for the Anglophile foodies, you definitely don't want to miss that series if you haven't already been watching it. I know several of our followers probably already are, but she did start it already a few days ago. So she's a couple days in, but she did put them on Reels. So you can go back in her Instagram feed and you can watch the days you missed. The first day, I think she went to Marks and Spencer's and had a turkey and ham hock Christmas sandwich. And that one, she said, had turkey, ham, stuffing, cranberry cheese, and then it came with an optional side of gravy. And then the next day she went to Costa Coffee and she had the turkey and trimmings Christmas sandwich, which had turkey, bacon, cheese, sage, and onion stuffing and cranberry sauce. So I am not going to spoil her ratings for you. You can go watch and see how she rated them. But I was laughing at her videos, especially day 2, the sandwich that she tried. Her reaction to that one was really funny. So have you seen any of them, Rachel?
No, I'm still on a social media detox, so I'm really staying off of Instagram for the most part.
Well, this is where the break. It's pretty fun. But so okay, here in the US, we are just 2 days away from Thanksgiving. So we've got a lot of these flavors that we'll be eating this week, which I'm super excited for. I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. I really like cranberry sauce and dressing. So anyway, she's got me in the spirit for all the holiday foods. So go check out All That's Pretty. And I think everyone will really enjoy it. But other than that, we've got a very full episode. So let's go ahead and get to the Royal Rundown.
We've got a lot to talk about. By the way, we do want to acknowledge U.S. listeners and Thanksgiving. We are recording this on Tuesday. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. We are so thankful for all of you. 3. I guess we're entering year 4 now, and I am thankful for you, Jessica.
Well, I am thankful for you as well and our listeners. And we did, sometimes during weeks where there's a holiday, we'll take it off. But we had a lot to report on today, and we wanted to give listeners something to listen to if you're traveling this week. So hopefully you enjoy this episode, and bear with us if this isn't maybe the most polished. We just have a lot to cover, and we're traveling and getting around to different places this week as well. So
Yes,
hopefully everyone enjoys it.
Well, we're gonna cover the news. We did both watch The Crown Part 1, and just okay, one sentence summary of what you thought.
Oh no, Rachel, I'm not prepared. So well, let me just say this. I really liked that they dropped just 4 episodes and they split
I
it up.
couldn't have
It made
handled
it,
more than that. I could not have emotionally handled more than 4 episodes.
I was gonna say it made it much easier to like digest and watch in like sort of a binge session. I mean, I watched it over the course of 2 days, but I agree. Yeah. So that would have been a lot. And I like how they split it up like that.
Yeah, I do too. I will just say this. I was in tears, and I didn't expect to be, but I was in tears within the first 3 minutes. And if you've watched, then you know what I'm talking about. And so we realized that this episode will come out on Wednesday. It's been less than a week since part 1 dropped. So we don't want to give spoilers. We will return to this at some point. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, if we're going to wait until part 2, but we did both watch The Crown Part 1. I have thoughts, but we have so much to talk about today that we're gonna let you all catch up over the holiday, and we'll be back with The Crown Part 1 at some point.
Yeah.
But let's get into Kate and the Shaping Us National Symposium. So this is a big deal. This was a landmark speech for Kate. She made a hugely important speech last Wednesday. She did it in style as ever. We will get to the fashion in a moment. I'm trying these days to lead with the work and then go into the fashion, even though I always want to talk about the fashion first. But let's focus first on the meat of the speech. So Kate made keynote remarks at the Shaping Us National Symposium, where findings from her Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood were presented. So I want to quote from Kate here, because just like I did with William the other week, because I think Kate's words are better than anything I could paraphrase. So she said, "It is time we understood that building a healthier world means nurturing the foundations that support our children, everything from the systems that govern early care through to our attitudes to those raising the next generation and the support they receive. Because if we can create a society which sees the child within every adult and the adult within every child, we will finally start to change it for the better." So this is me now. She has always said that the first 5 years of a child's life shapes them for the rest of their lives, and that trauma and stress and adverse experiences in these years profoundly affect people as adults. So I'm just thinking now, Jessica, as of a shy Kate making her first speech as a working royal reluctantly back in 2012, and how far she has come, and just how impressed I continue to be by this woman. So, of course, as I just mentioned a minute ago, Shaping Us was launched back in January. It was built on a decade of work. The symposium this week continued to support that effort, and it gathered academics, mental health experts, specialists in child development, and psychologists together to dissect new research gathered from 21 countries. So I want to quote from Kate again some more. She said, "I care deeply about making a positive difference in helping the most vulnerable and supporting those who are most in need. This is not just about the youngest children in our society who are, by their very nature, vulnerable. It is also about the many young people and adults who are suffering. It isn't enough, therefore, to simply wish for a better world. We must acknowledge and address the root cause of some of today's toughest social challenges and work together to find better answers, because ultimately, we are all part of a delicate, interconnected ecosystem. And just as we need to restore, protect, and invest in our planet, so we must restore, protect, and invest in our societies, communities, relationships, and ourselves." Me again. So that's a nice nod, right, to William's work with the Earthshot Prize there. Okay, back to Kate. "Despite the fact that each and every one of us has had our own childhoods, few people understand the true impact our formative years have had on shaping who we are today. That is why I decided to launch the Shaping Us campaign, to raise awareness of and action on the importance of this critical time." So again, me. I don't know how many of you listeners actually read the text of her speech, but it was important to me to share her powerful words here. This was a huge moment for her. And I know that we're going to talk about the purple pantsuit, and because how can we not? But this was huge for her. And I think I was on People, because that's where I go, other than Marie Claire, of course, but I go to People all the time for some of the best royal coverage out there. But Kate was asked how she was feeling ahead of her speech, and she said she was good, but nervous, but excited too. She also revealed that Louis and his classmates, Louis's 5, by the way, are using a feelings wheel, which I think is adorable, at school to help them describe their emotions. So I appreciate how she often ties it all back to her own kids, because what better example does she have of children than the 3 that she's raising? So, a bold campaign like this needs a bold look to go with it. Kate delivered as ever. And I cannot wait to talk about this red cape. We'll get there. It's going to be in a minute. But let's go back to last Wednesday. So, she wore a purple Amelia Wickstead pantsuit, as well as sapphire and diamond earrings that belong to her late mother in law, Princess Diana. So, we've got a photo here. God, I love this. Like, I hate the color purple. So, I don't wear it. And let me tell you why. So I grew up in Kansas. I went to the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk, and our in-state rival, and I especially do not like K-State this week because we just lost in football to them in a heartbreaker on Saturday. But our in-state rival is Kansas State. Their color is purple. Because of this, because I'm a born and bred Jayhawk, I never have owned purple. Definitely not this shade of purple, which is K-State's shade of purple. I know that's petty and stupid, but whatever. It just is what it is. So, but this color is so gorgeous. She looks phenomenal. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way the suit is tailored. I think it fits her very well, and I think it's a flattering cut. I agree with you. I am not a fan of the color purple. I never have been, and it has nothing to
Really
do with
interesting.
Kansas. I just have never liked it. I've always been a pink girl. But I don't know that a Barbie pink suit would have worked in this.
Well, she's done that before, but this just works. It's a color we don't really see her in a whole lot, to be honest. And but
I
I
was
mean,
gonna
it's
say
fantastic.
she pulls it off. Again, like back to the pantsuit stuff. There were other outfits we've seen her in this week that were wow level outfits. And this was more about the work. So I don't think she was trying to be in like a big wow outfit.
Mhm.
I'm kind of indifferent to this. Which maybe that's the point, right? To focus on the message, and not the fashion. So
Yes, but I'm shocked at how much I love this outfit, because I do not
really,
trend. Yes, because I don't trend towards the color purple. This would have been my outfit of the week for her before today. So
if
again,
we're
just to let you
talking
know.
favorite pantsuits, I still like that green Burberry one she wore a few months ago.
Uh-huh.
And then I thought she looked great in that white one as well. But I mean, this one's fine. It's not my favorite, but
I don't know if we've ever seen her I'm trying to think. I mean, we see her in Amelia Wickstead a lot, but I don't know if we've ever seen her in an Amelia Wickstead pantsuit. But anyway,
yeah.
so Kate's early morning was especially impressive, considering she had a late night the night before, last Tuesday night. Gosh, they've been busy this week, haven't they, for King Charles's birthday party? So I know that you're going to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the king had a private birthday party at Clarence House on Tuesday night, and we talked about his more formal public birthday party with members of the public last week, but he had one Tuesday night after a busy day of royal engagements, and Kate actually was seen in a sparkly emerald green dress that was later identified as being from Needle and Thread, which I actually have a close tie-in that I'll mention, but
Hmm.
Clarence House is where the king and queen live. Obviously, Buckingham Palace is still under renovations right now. So yeah, we can talk about the dress, Rachel. What did you think?
Well, it's sparkly, just like you like it. This is a very you dress. And maybe I'm just really boring, but and it's not a bad dress. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen many full body shots of like the whole look. We are looking right now at a photo of the shoulders up of the dress, or I guess upper arms up of the dress. Like her hair, by the way. I mean, she's just into these sparkles, and maybe I'm just incredibly boring, but the sequins, the sparkles, they don't like they don't do much for me, but I know that you love a good sparkle, and this is that. I mean, from what I can see of it, are those shoulder pads, by the way?
There, it does look like there's some structure in the shoulders. So
Mhm.
this dress is very similar in color to that ball gown she wore on the Caribbean tour. Do you remember that one?
Yes, and I love the color. I don't have a problem with the color. It's a gorgeous emerald color, but I don't know. I just like I like my solids. Like, just I maybe again, maybe I'm just so dull, but
Well, I like sparkles. So my fun tie-in with this dress is, you might remember, I think it was back in 2019, she wore a red sparkly needle and thread dress at, I think it was a state banquet at Buckingham Palace, if I remember correctly. And
Mhm.
then she wore it again. It might have been for the announcement of her Christmas Carol service, maybe a couple years
Uh-huh.
ago.
Uh-huh.
So that dress was one of my favorites by that we've seen her in, and it's by Needle and Thread. I actually have an event coming up in a couple of weeks. And so I went out on the Real and I purchased a needle and thread, same color red. It's a little bit different style. It's got sparkles on the top. And then it's got like a tulle skirt. And I'm super excited about it. I get to wear it in a few weeks.
You showed
And
me
I
this
was,
at the wine place, didn't you? It's gorgeous.
yes, and I was inspired by her red dress. So when I saw she came out with a green one by Needle and Thread, I was like, yes, I guess I guess we're still doing the needle and thread thing.
I
So
love it. Yeah, I mean, she looks gorgeous. I actually really love her hair here.
yeah, it looks great. It's curly and down. Very
Mm-hmm.
pretty. So, in addition to Kate and obviously William alongside her, other members of the royal family that joined the king and queen were Princess Beatrice, Zara and Mike Tyndall, Princess Margaret's children, David Armstrong Jones, and Lady Sarah Chatto, and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. So, sounded like it was a good party.
Yeah,
I wish we
everybody
got to see
got
more.
dressed up. We're going to talk about Beatrice in just a minute, but she went to two events that night and looked amazing and just looked like it was a lot. I guess I didn't know that it was going to be that fancy, but I love it, of course. Like bring out the sparkles.
So let's talk about William for a second. I know you've got some stuff that you want to share about William, but real quick before we jump into that, William made good on a promise made at a Buckingham Palace garden party earlier this year. And while in Manchester, visited the Hideaway Youth Project and Moss Side. So in Manchester, he unveiled a new project that will allocate $130,000. Is that, did you see this, Rachel? Is that US dollars?
Yeah, that's US dollars, I think.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was US dollars
Mhm.
or if I was reading pounds. Okay.
Mhm.
So anyway, this is to support an initiative aimed at reducing youth violence through the Manchester Peace Together Alliance. And actually, in a funny moment while visiting Moss Side, an 11-year-old boy asked William how much money was in his bank account.
Like only a young person can get away with that. I love
Oh,
it.
well, William actually responded, and he said he didn't know. So that's a tough answer to a tough question to answer for sure.
Well, let us answer the question of how much William's net worth is, shall we? So let's start here. So when King Charles took the throne, William inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, which is an estate of farmland, property, and commercial businesses worth around $1.3 billion. So yeah, again, I don't think that that would have been like a proper answer to give, but that's not all actually. So William also inherited 10 million pounds from the estate of his late mother, Princess Diana, and also inherited millions after his great grandmother, the Queen Mother, died in March 2002. She had put her money in a trust fund to be split amongst her great grandchildren, with 14 million pounds going to William and younger brother Prince Harry specifically. In the agreement, Harry was to get more than William, as the Queen Mother knew that one day William would inherit the Duchy of Cornwall, which he did, and Harry would not. So, yeah, I mean, I think I don't know was probably the right answer, because how are you going to say, well, I'm worth like over $1 billion? Like, and again, we're trying to make the royals more relatable, not less
Well,
relatable.
in all fairness, he probably didn't know the exact amount in his checking account.
True. And again, and that's just what we know publicly. I'm sure that there's more that, we probably aren't aware of that. I don't know. maybe that doesn't have to be publicly reported. I don't know. It's just a lot of money is the short answer. But that is hilarious. I love these questions from kids because like they're the only ones that could ask these kind of things. Like, how old are you? I mean, we know how old William is. How much money do you have in your bank account? That's amazing. And as ever, he takes it in stride and laughed about it. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know is the only answer to give there. But there's a lot going on Thursday. So, in addition to William's visit to Manchester, it also marked his and Kate's 13th anniversary of announcing their engagement. Can you believe it's been 13 years? That's crazy. Wow. Plus, of course, The Crown, part one. Again, we'll get to that at some point. But also that evening, I can't not mention this. Meghan stepped out on the red carpet in LA at the Variety Women in Power event. I am obsessed with her muted Proenza Schooler dress. It is a beige one-shoulder midi dress with a slit hem. We know Meghan likes a good one-shoulder dress. She wore a black one-shoulder dress by Givenchy to the British Fashion Awards in 2018 when she presented her wedding dress designer Claire Waite Keller with the British Designer of the Year award. She later wore a one-shoulder turquoise dress by Christopher John Rogers to the NAACP Image Awards in 2022. So Meghan opened up about a lot on the red carpet. Let's see. She said that she and Harry have a full slate of projects, that she wants their projects to make people feel something, and that she has no idea why Suits is experiencing a resurgence in popularity, but that, as she said, quote unquote, good shows are everlasting. And by the way, I want to put a late ad in here. We caught Meghan and Harry at a hockey game last night, Monday night in Vancouver. Harry dropped the ceremonial puck at the hockey game, just like his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, did back in 2002. And I included a photo of Meghan. I love that. Like, I would wear that dress 100%.
You and I are just, we're just on different fashion wavelengths.
See, you want the sparkles and I want this. I want the muted beige dress. Maybe I am boring. I don't know, but I just knocked a lamp over almost as I said that. I was gesticulating with my hands. I think she looks fantastic. I like the clutch too.
If you love podcasts and dream about creating your own, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since we discovered Spotify for Podcasters, we have really enjoyed exploring features like Q&A, polls, and all the ways we can be really creative. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Well, let's hop out of the nude shades and go back to sparkles.
More sparkles.
So speaking of looks we love, Beatrice actually wore pink sequins in a look that I think is reminiscent to what Catherine wore to the Jordanian royal wedding in June. Mm-hmm. The color looked very similar and they were both sparkly dresses, but Beatrice had a really busy Tuesday night, like you mentioned. So after King Charles' birthday party, which actually I don't know if it was before or after, but
I would assume before, probably.
Maybe before. She attended a party that night celebrating the opening of designer Monique Lillier's London store. And the dress that she was wearing was also by Monique Lillier, which we saw her in at Royal Ascot, that really pretty floral dress.
Yeah.
So this one, Rachel, I want to get your take on it. It's like a two-piece. There is a dress and the front part is kind of got a plunging neckline, but then there's also a little like a jacket that is open in the front. It doesn't
kind
close.
Kind of a cape-ish thing, maybe.
Like elbow length on the sleeve. So what do you think about that?
Okay, well, we have a side by side here of her and Kate, and the more that Kate dress has grown on me. I love that dress. Beatrice's look, I don't like. I'm dull. I don't like it. I mean, I don't despise it. I would love to see what it looks like without the jacket, although it does look like it has a plunging neckline, which is probably for modesty why she put that over it, which I understand. But yeah, it's just not for me. I mean, she looks great. I actually love how that complements her hair. But it's just not my style. But I do like, the more I look at Catherine's Kate, you call her Catherine, I call her Kate, whatever. The more I look at Kate's dress from the Jordanian royal wedding, the more I like it. What do you think of Beatrice's look?
Okay, so the dress, like on a hanger, like the dress itself, I really, really like it. I don't love the added cape piece with it,
Mm-hmm.
but let me tell you what I think feels off about the photo that I've seen of Beatrice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the way she has styled her hair matches the glam of this dress. It does not
Yeah.
look like she styled her hair at all. And I just, that was just my take from this. I feel like she needed a good hairstylist to come in and do something glamorous with her hair to match
Mm-hmm.
the sparkles of the dress. I don't know if that would be like a sleek bun or ponytail or something. I like when a dress has a lot going on to like keep the hair a little bit simple,
Mm-hmm.
but her hair looks like it hasn't been styled. So that's my take on that. I
Yeah.
love the dress. I think Beatrice has been knocking it out of the park with
Mm-hmm.
fashion lately. I mean,
Totally.
I'm not critiquing her fashion sense. I think she's done a great job with a lot of recent looks, but I would have liked to have seen her hair in some type of updo or some sort of styling with this dress.
That's a really good point. And then, like, again, we're juxtaposing and we're not playing comparison game. And by the way, Beatrice, you're right. Beatrice's style game has been on point. I mean, obviously, either she has taken a renewed interest in fashion or she is working with someone. I'm not really sure, but she's upped her game. But then looking at this photo next to her, of Kate's hair is also down and honestly relatively, it looks straightened to me, but she also has a tiara on, and so there's that, and she's got, and that's another thing. Beatrice doesn't have any accessories that I can see. She might have earrings on, but they're not the statement earrings that Kate's wearing. And maybe that's just, there's something missing from the Beatrice look. I don't know.
Well,
You're zooming in.
I am. I'm trying to do.
I'm watching
It looks
you
like she's
zoom
got
in
a
on our
bracelet
group on
on.
our Google Doc. I mean, if she has earrings on, and she might, but they're not as statement as Kate's are. There's just something missing from this look. And maybe it's the unstyled hair and the lack of accessories. I don't know. She could have used a necklace. I don't know. There's just something that's not
Well,
connecting for me.
like I said, Beatrice is beautiful. I think her style has been great lately. To me, one of my favorite looks was that Monique Lillier at Royal Ascot on her that
Mhm.
we've seen her wear. But she does wear a lot of similar brands to what we've seen Catherine in as well. I think we've seen her in, I can't think of the designer's name right now, but
I love
anyway.
Monique Lillier, by the way. I would love a Monique Lillier wedding dress. Just saying, putting that out there in the universe.
But yeah, I mean, again, like I like the dress. I think what's missing is we should have had a little bit more of a glam hairstyle to go with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, let's move on here. We've got a lot more to cover. So Catherine actually made a surprise appearance to kick off the BBC annual Children in Need telethon on Friday. And since the telethon started in 1980, it's actually raised over 1 billion pounds for disadvantaged youth in the UK. And Kate said in her message that she was delighted to kickstart the telethon. And she said, tonight's all about helping to support, champion, and empower all children to be the very best they can be, which is crucial for their future health and happiness.
I like that top, but she's got getting a lot of flack for that because apparently I can't tell you a dollar or a pound value on this, but it's an expensive look, and she's getting some flack for wearing an expensive look to a telethon for children in need.
Well, I hadn't
Whatever.
seen that story, but this is not one of my favorite looks at all. I do not like this top.
I like the color. I don't like the polka dots. You all know how I feel about polka dots. And yeah, I mean, I like the sleeve. What do you
I
think
don't
of the
think it's polka
sleeve?
dots. I think it's a
You know?
design. I've got to look at it up close, but I don't like anything about this top.
Well, neither did the public, apparently, not because of the style, but because of the price tag. So, everybody's got to have a miss once in a while.
I didn't think we were going to be talking about fashion that much in this episode, but it's become
Oh, we have to. It's Kate. We got to talk about the look.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and chat a little bit. So I had it in the notes today to talk about Prince Edward's Asia trip, but he is currently still on it. So because we've got a lot of stuff to cover today, I think I'm going to hold that until next week and we can chat about that. But just to remind listeners, we did tell everyone last week he would be traveling to New Zealand, Australia, and Indonesia this week for the 60th anniversary of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award. He has already been to New Zealand. He's currently in Australia. So we'll just follow that story and we'll chat about it when it concludes next week.
Good deal. Well, let's talk about something that just happened today. I'm very excited to talk about the South Korea state visit and banquet.
Me too.
If for nothing else, once again, here we are again, the fashion. So I'm dying to know your thoughts on Kate in this red look. I know is going to be a polarizing look. It's a little bit daring. But before we do that, let's remind the listeners what you told us last week about this state visit.
Yes. So the president of South Korea and his wife are visiting the UK on a 2-day state visit, and the King, Queen, and the Prince and Princess of Wales had a ceremonial welcome for the couple today at Horse Guards Parade in London. I saw some pictures for that, Rachel, and it was really pretty. They're really fun pictures on their royal social media pages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was. I have so many thoughts about this look, but I want to talk about everything that happened prior.
Well, they took part in a carriage procession along the Mall to Buckingham Palace. And while at the palace, Charles and Camilla hosted a viewing of a special exhibition in the picture gallery of items from the royal collection relating to the Republic of Korea. They also hosted a private lunch for their guests, and then they took part in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Korean War Memorial to mark the 70th anniversary of the end of the war. And they laid another wreath at the grave of the unknown warrior. So I was watching a lot of that online today and what was happening, and just a lot of, they really made a big welcome for the president and his wife, and it was fun to see.
They did. My grandfather actually served in the Korean War, and I think it's such a forgotten war, which I hate because it matters. So I'm glad that they brought some awareness that I can't believe it's been 70 years, as if I was around, but just thinking that my grandfather served 70 years ago. Anyway, as she is known to do, Kate wore the colors of the flag of the country she's hosting. She is wearing I'm obsessed with this, and it's going to be so polarizing because people are going to hate it, and that's fine, but I just love that she's taking some risks. So she's wearing a new red wool cape by Catherine Walker. It is paired with a bespoke hat by Jane Taylor. So interesting note. So the bow that you see might look like it is part of the cape. It's actually from the dress below the cape, also made by Catherine Walker. And if you recognize that bow, it is the outfit that Kate wore to the first Christmas Carol concert back in 2021. Does that look familiar to you?
But wait, as soon as I saw this, I was like, wait, is this a rewear from the Christmas Carol service? Because
I thought it was part of the cape, but it's not. It's from the dress below. So also in a nod to the blue on Korea's flag, Kate wore the same sapphire and diamond drop earrings of Princess Diana's that she wore last week to the Shaping Us National Symposium. So, okay. Oh my God. I love this color. Like I'm obsessed with this color. The hat, I can whatever, but the cape, I just love a cape. And that's something I miss from Meghan actually. She loved to do a cape, and we don't see that much anymore now that she's not a working royal. But the shot that we're looking at is just she's standing still and it's fine. But when Kate is in motion in this look, it is gorgeous. So I'm wondering if you have thoughts.
Yeah, I actually like this look a lot too. I'm not typically a bright red person, but I thought this looked great. I love the more classic princessy looks. I like when she wears dresses and coat dresses. And so I always tend to gravitate towards those looks a little bit more than the pantsuits. But I thought this was a big hit. I really liked it. It was fun to see. It was different. It was a little bit unexpected.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of royals in red this week, which we'll
Yes,
talk
and
about later.
yes, well, I think that has to do with diplomatic dressing. But tonight, Tuesday night, there was a state banquet with 170 guests. The tiaras came out, love it. But before that, I want to make quick mention of the PDA photo that you showed me. Remember, you sent that to me earlier today, texted me.
I did. Yes, I do remember that.
So it's, I mean, you can, how would you describe it? Because you're the one that sent it to
Well,
me.
it was a video, and you could see William and Catherine kind of walking together at the palace, and he kind of put his arm or his hand kind of on her back, and she reached her hand around, and they walked there for a second with their arms around each other's backs, and it was so cute and romantic.
Yeah, I love seeing William and Kate in unguarded moments like that, which we're seeing more and more of lately. And I love it. And when you sent me that text, I thought, my gosh, they have been together for 20 years, half of their lives. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
love it.
stuff like that it feels very natural. They had no idea that they were being
Mhm.
necessarily recorded in that moment. And to me, it's like appropriate, tasteful PDA. It just
It's just
shows
sweet.
their respect and adoration of each other, and I think that's good to see.
Absolutely. So let's get into the tiaras. So Camilla wore Queen Elizabeth's Burmese ruby tiara, comprised of, you guessed it, rubies as well as diamonds. I think this is beautiful, a beautiful
Yeah,
piece.
I love that.
This piece was likely chosen to match her red velvet dress by Fiona Clare. She also wore Queen Elizabeth's ruby and diamond earrings and necklace. The tiara, by the way, was made in 1973, so relatively new. What do you think of this tiara? We don't see this one very much.
I loved it. I mean, this whole event was full of unexpected looks, which I think we were all really hungry for.
Mhm.
And this is a fun tiara. This is something that if I were a royal, I would want to pull out and wear.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's the perfect size too. It's not too ostentatious. It's not too small. It's perfect.
Well, her
And
hairstyle is like, she has a lot of volume. Her hair is big enough
yeah,
that she
she
can
looks
pull off
great.
the big tiaras.
Yeah, she looks fantastic. So then Kate's tiara is much older and actually hasn't been worn publicly anyway since the 1930s. So Kate is wearing a new tiara today or tonight, I guess, the Strathmore Rose tiara. So this comes from the Queen Mother's collection, and the Queen Mother and now Kate are the only two to have been seen wearing this piece in public. Queen Elizabeth never was seen wearing it in public. So this piece is named after the Queen Mother's father, whose title was Earl of Strathmore and Kinghorn. It was a wedding present to the Queen Mother when she married the then Prince Albert, who later, of course, became King George VI. This, by the way, is just the fourth tiara Kate has worn as a royal. She wore the Cartier Halo tiara for her wedding day in 2011. She has worn the Lotus Flower tiara, I think, 3 different times to diplomatic things over the years. And then, of course, the one that she is most seen in, the Queen Mary Lover's Knot tiara. She's worn that one 11 times. So this is
Wow.
only like when you think about that, it's only the fourth tiara she's ever worn. Again, she wears the Queen Mary Lovers not a lot, but Kate's gown tonight was by Jenny Packham. So some standbys today: Catherine Walker, Jenny Packham, Amelia Wickstead earlier in the week. Where's Alexander McQueen? I don't know, but we've got a lot of old standbys in here. Kate's dress was white with gold embellishments. She also wore some earrings that belonged to Queen Elizabeth. And then we've got Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Her husband's away. She's at the diplomatics or at the state banquet. She wore the aquamarine tiara tonight, along with a rewear. I don't know if you listeners caught this because her coronation outfit was covered up by a robe, but she wore the same cream Susanna Crab dress that she wore to the coronation in May. So we've got some photos here. So I love Camilla's tiara. Her dress is okay. Not a massive velvet fan, but Camilla looks fantastic. Kate, love. I'm just looking at I can do with or without gloves, but she looks so elegant. That close up of that tiara. Look at that. That's so
Wow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Why don't we see that more often? That's a beautiful piece. Her earrings are beautiful too. And then Sophie, beautiful tiara in white as well. So what are your thoughts?
Okay, so looking at Camilla, I love this look. I think she looks great. I
She
mean,
does.
she is in this floor-length red velvet dress, which I mean, it is, I think it's glam, but it's also really appropriate for her. It's regal with the velvet, and she's
Mhm.
got the tie-in on the tiara with the color. And I actually really love this look. So I
Yeah,
thought
regal is a
she
good
knocked
way
it
to
out of the
paint it.
park.
Yeah, she
Um,
looks regal.
Moving on to Catherine, again, she knocked it out of the park. I think everyone that when I was looking online earlier, it seemed like I didn't see anything but people just loving this choice. We did see her
Mhm.
in white at an event not too long ago, but white looks really great on her. I mean, her face is just glowing.
Mhm.
I think it was so much fun that they pulled out that tiara to surprise everyone. Like you said, I mean, no one, has ever seen that tiara worn out unless you were here in the 1930s and you
Almost a
saw it,
hundred years ago.
So really, really cool that they chose to do that today. I thought that was really fun. And then I think the gloves just kind of tell us about the formality of the event. I
Mhm.
mean,
Mhm.
I think it's
Mhm.
a sign of how formal the event was. And then moving on to Sophie, I like this look as well. I thought it was really appropriate. I thought she looked great. I love her tiara also. Anytime there's one with like a really big center jewel,
Mhm.
those are so cool to me. Like the one that Princess Eugenie wore at her wedding with the big emerald right in the middle. That one
Mhm.
was really pretty. So I think everybody did a fabulous job on fashion this evening. I mean, I love it all. I really do.
I do too. And you know what else? I love this picture of Sophie we're looking at. And the name is escaping me. His name is Johnny something. But Queen Camilla's like I don't know if he's her bodyguard or what, but God, he's so hot. Johnny, somebody, listeners will know he's just gorgeous and he's standing right behind Sophie and you can't help but notice him. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yes, everybody looked fantastic tonight. So A++.
Well, that is going to wrap up what we'll cover in Royal Rundown this week. We have so much to get to. We'll catch back up on anything we missed next week, but let's go ahead and jump into royals around the world. We've got a couple of stories this time. So first up, our Swedish royals have been on the road traveling. We've got Princess Madeline, who was recently in Washington, D.C. for a Nobel Prize event at the Swedish Embassy. And Crown Princess Victoria has made an official visit to Germany. Rachel, I've got to ask you, what's with so many royal visits to Germany lately?
I know, right? I don't know.
So first we had King Charles and Queen Camilla, and then we had Crown Prince Haakon and Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway, and now we've got Crown Princess Victoria and Crown Prince Daniel of Sweden making a trip there. But the royal couple were hosted by the president and his wife at Bellevue Palace, and during their visit, they recognized the National Day of Mourning, which remembers those who lost their lives due to conflict and oppression. And Crown Princess Victoria gave a speech where she said, "My strong family ties to Germany and everything German has been an integral part of my life since I was a child. My feelings for Germany are intimate and deep." So, if you'll remember, Crown Princess Mette-Marit actually gave a speech when she was in Germany as well.
Yeah, I do remember that now that you said that.
So let's go ahead and chat about this next story because I have some pictures down here and I want to chat about them with you, Rachel. I don't know if you saw this news, but we had another royal wedding this week. Did you see that?
Actually, I missed it, but I'm looking at the bride's dress and I love it. We'll talk about that in a minute, but
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to do a little bit of research on this because I don't know a whole lot about this royal family, or I didn't know anything about them before this. But Busoga is one of four constitutional monarchies in Uganda, and their king married his queen this past week. So the king is King William Gabula Nadiope IV, and he is 35 years old. And he married Jovia Mutesi, who I believe is 31. They were married on November 18th. So Queen Jovia is only the fifth queen of Bugosa. And at their wedding, they had 2,000 guests in attendance. They had a 100-person choir. And here's a little bit of romantic news for you. After the wedding ceremony, They process to their reception at the palace, where later on at 11 p.m. in the evening, King William repeated his vow to love his wife until the end of time.
No,
So,
I love
Rachel,
that.
first up, we've got a wedding cake here that looks like it's about 7 or 8
That's
tiers.
one hell of a wedding cake. That is huge. Is that caramel on that, or I know it's supposed to be like a castle, but that is
I had some, I don't know if it's fondant or something on there for the structure, but yeah, it's white, it's got flowers, it's got gold detailing. And I mean, I guess if you've got 2,000 people to feed, you need a big cake.
that is a big cake. And this dress reminds me of Kate's, actually. I love
Yes, that's
it.
what I was gonna say. It is very reminiscent of Catherine's wedding gown when she married William.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely beautiful couple. Wow. I love that.
Yeah, this was a fun one to learn about and report on, and I wanted to share it. So, the bride looks beautiful. She's got a
Gorgeous
tiara.
bouquet too.
Oh yeah, a big white floral bouquet, and then she's got her veil is not, I don't know how it was in the ceremony, but it's pulled back. It's not covering her face, but her dress is very much like Catherine. So it's got the lace piece over the top. It's long sleeves. It's kind of got that V neckline,
Mm-hmm.
and then her dress is more of like A-line. It goes out at the waist. But really, really great pictures and a fun wedding to report on.
I want a piece of that cake. Surely they've got enough for me, right? That's a big cake.
Well, lastly, we had Monaco National Day on November 19th. So there were several family members and extended family members from the Monaco royal family at this event, but we also got a photo of Prince Albert, Princess Charlene, and their twins, Jacques and Gabriella. So a little bit about the Monaco National Day. The day's events began with Mass. That was followed by a parade and a balcony appearance by the family. Princess Caroline and Princess Stephanie were also in attendance. We saw some photos of them. And then this was really cute. The children had like matching moments with their parents. I've got a picture down here, and
Mhm.
Prince Jacques was dressed in uniform just like Prince Albert. And then Princess Gabriella was wearing this navy coat and hat that matched her mother's, who Princess Charlene was in this ruby red color. That's why I said we've got a lot of royals in red this week, from Catherine to Camilla to Charlene, all of our 3 Cs here in
Mhm.
red. But Princess Charlene was in this monochromatic red look. It was like a midi length double-breasted coat. She had red suede knee-high boots, a red hat, and red gloves. So
I thought Charlene looked great at this event. I thought she looked really,
she's
really
been
good.
also another royal that's been looking great. She's had some good fashion choices
Mhm.
lately. I've seen her at several things, and I've been wowed by her choices. So we've got, I don't know, our royals are they're really showing up with the fashion lately.
Yeah, and I love the color red. So I'm just as much as I dislike the color purple, inversely, I love the color red so much. Like that's one of my favorite colors on myself personally. And especially these scarlet and crimson colors that we've got going on. I love it. It's just very wintry to me. It
Mhm.
works. So
I
and
was gonna say, it's got to be the right shade of red,
mhm,
which I think a scarlet or a crimson, even a burgundy, is really
mhm.
pretty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Well, we have made it to our very last Royals Around the World factoid of the week, which makes me sad because these have been so fun to do. We had the deep dive and now we have the factoid, and now that's ending. So we'll come up with something in its place. But there have been many abdications that led to total change ups in the line of succession, not the least of which happened with the British royal family in 1936 when King Edward VIII abdicated the British throne to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson, thereby setting Princess Elizabeth up to one day become queen. So we have talked about the Japanese royal family on the show many times, mainly about Princess Mako rescinding her royal title for love. She married commoner Kai Komuro, and Japan's current emperor Naruhito ascended to the throne on May 1st, 2019, because of the abdication of his father. So Mako's father, Fumihito, is Naruhito's younger brother, and he is the heir presumptive to the Japanese throne. His son, Hisahito, is next in line. But the family that I want to give you the factoid about today is the royal family of the Netherlands, who we talk about on the show all the time. So King Willem-Alexander took the throne in 2013 after his mother abdicated the throne. Willem-Alexander is married to Queen Maxima. They have 3 daughters, including the heir to the throne, Katharina Amalia, who will forever be known as the one that gave up her inheritance and set this trend, which I'm sure other royals don't like, or maybe they love it. I don't know. We've spoken of her on the show before. So Maxima is Argentinian, which I'm not sure I realized. And when the two of them met and he introduced himself as a prince, she thought he was joking, which is hilarious. He actually proposed, of all things, while they were ice skating. So there's some inspiration for all of you who are going to go ice skating. By the way, you know what I heard, and we never followed up on this. Remember, I talked to you about Peter Phillips wanted to do the ice skating rink at Kensington Palace. It got canceled for safety reasons. Yes, which makes, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to go anyway, but I'm sad for the people that are gonna miss out. So anyway, you can't propose. Sorry, everybody. I was gonna say, guys, anybody can propose. Oh gosh, I almost knocked that lamp over again. I'm gesticulating over here, but sorry, guys or girls or whoever, you can't propose on the Kensington Palace ice skating rink, but you can be like King Willem and propose on an ice skating rink somewhere else, I guess. So
speaking of fashion, Maxima has great fashion.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Letitia, I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you're listening to the show, you're not sleeping on royals around the world, but those that are not paying attention to other royal families around the world are really missing out on fashion and on juicy gossip and just the whole thing. So that is my very last royals around the world factoid. That kind of makes me sad. That was fun to do.
That was fun. And I know everybody enjoyed that. So we've got a lot of other segments we'll do in the future, but thank you for sending us on that little journey, Rachel. All right. Well, that does it for us. Of course, like we mentioned at the top of the episode, I hope all of our listeners have a very happy Thanksgiving. We are grateful for you all joining us here each week. And don't just hang out here. Come join us on Instagram. You can follow us at Podcast Royal. Please go on Apple Podcasts. If you like the show, give us a 5-star rating. You can always leave a kind note. We appreciate that. If you have any questions for us, or if you have a critique, send us an email. You can DM us.
That's the hard and fast rule from now on. Yes.
You can DM us on Instagram, or you can email us at hellopodcastroyal@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for tuning in to episode 115 of Podcast Royal. Bye.
Bye.